Hey, I'm back, and today I want to go over the third part of my epic drum series. So, in the other parts, I showed you how to make the basic sound, and if you haven't checked that out, check it out now. In the second part, I talked about how to manipulate the sound and make some kind of creative effects and things, and also make like a low bass drop. But today, I'm going to talk about layering it. So, I'm sure you know, like, one drum by itself sounds good, but if you add like 2 or 4 or 6 or 16 drums playing at the same time, it adds lots of power. But unfortunately, with this, it's a little bit more difficult since you have a synthesizer. Of course, we could just, take one instance and then copy it, and then copy another one, and use the same MIDI. But when you do that, because the timing and the notes are the same, it just sounds like one big hit instead of 4 separate hits. Now, if we go in and we change all the parameters in each synth, and then we go into the MIDI and change the timing there, of course it'll sound different, which is what we want, but that's a little bit time consuming. So today I'm going to show you an easier way so you can just kind of copy and paste the MIDI and make 1 or 2 changes to each synth, and you can have that big ensemble sound. So let's get started. Enough talking. Let's go here. Here. This is the first one I did. The original I showed you in the first video. So that's it basically. But I made an altered version. So actually, let me go back here. You see here, I just have this, which is my wet dry between noise and the oscillator. And in here, I'm changing the pitch slightly on every hit. So if you look here, the sense. But that's the only 2 things I have going. So let's look at this one, adjustable epic vid sound. Here. Okay. So in here you see you have the 2 as I had before, but you also have some other things. Like this one, decay. If you look at what I did here, the ADSR 1 filter and the ADSR decay are both used here. So the first one is the global. So if you move the decay, you see, ooh, look, I can change it. And this makes a big difference. It also does the same thing with the filter here. See the filter decay. So they both change. But let's listen to how it sounds. So here it is in 290. Go up a little bit. A little bit more. So you can hear that really changes the tone. It seems like, it's not doing much, but it does a lot. And let's move to the FX. You hear the snap frequency, and all it's doing is just changing this 5th note here of the EQ. It's moving it around, but I'll let you hear how that sounds. I'll do it here in the middle first. That's a little bit subtle, but you can hear it does make a difference in tone. And you really need those differences in tone so your sounds don't blend together. But let's move here to the pitch. Global pitch. Now if you look at the semitones there, as I move that, it moves it up and down. So that's easy to understand. Let me do it here. I'll just do it on 1 note. So it's just up and down 4 semitones. It's just there for convenience, really. But let's talk about the main thing. The main thing that's going to really change this is the randomness. So let's not look at there first. Let's look at the mod 2 first. So I have 2 parameters. I have ADSR delay and I have ADSR filter delay. So ADSR delay is here. So as I do that, I have it now set for between 0 and 22. And you see it's on the random setting. That means, and also change on MIDI notes. So every time I hit a note, it's going to change the delay and the filter delay. So let's see, I'll turn this off and just watch here at the envelope. So you saw how the delay is just moving around. So you can't really hear it here, but when it's with the other ones, you'll really be able to understand, like, how it's moving and what it's doing. But let's look at this randomness. Like, what is this controlling? So this is controlling the parameters here in mod 2. So now I have it at 50%, and you see here, it's like 22 milliseconds, right? But let's say if I increase it to 100%. Now it's between 0 and 65 milliseconds. So that's going to be really loose. It's going to sound like my drummers are drunk, just like real drummers. So, that's what I do. And if I want to tighten it up, like, it's too loose, I want it, more mechanical, slide it down. And here, like, say 9%, only 7 milliseconds. So that's pretty tight. So you can set that however you like by using the randomness. And by changing all of these, we can really make them different, and it's a lot easier to change like 2 of these. So when I want, in like 4 instances, instead of going in and changing all these small parameters, I can just go like this, 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 and this. Just make those 4 changes by just sliding them kind of randomly, and you can get completely different sounds. But let me demonstrate that. Let me give you like a small rhythm pattern if I can. I'll do something basic and simple here. Let me go into the step sequencer. Okay, let's try something like this. I think that sounds okay. Let me just copy it and paste it. Being lazy here. You probably shouldn't do this for your compositions, but I'm going to. Okay, so now let's listen to it. Okay, so that sounds good enough, at least for this demonstration. But now let's talk about layering it. Let's see how easy it can be and how fast I can do this. So go into the second one, go into the adjustable epic vid sound. Let's turn this decay up a little bit, turn the snap frequency down, turn the randomness down a little bit, and turn the pitch down a little bit there. And now just go here, highlight this MIDI, copy it, go down here, paste it. Oh, I should do it in stereo too, shouldn't I? So let's go to global, panorama. Let's do it 39 to the left for that one, and for the second one, do 39 or 40 to the right. Okay, so let's hear it. Okay, so that's sounding pretty good, but I could make it a little bit more different if I wanted to, but let's keep going. Let me put in the MIDI here and put in the MIDI here. Okay, so now the parameters for all my instances are different. As you can see, that's fairly quick to do, but let's hear it now. Okay, there you go. Some of you might have thought like, hey, there's some things that are a little bit too loose. So in that case, I might take this one that I have up here, like 86, move it down to like 68. And this one I have up at 90. Let's move that down to 60. And let's see if that fixes it. Last time. Okay, so that's, for the most part, what I want. So I think, that's pretty good. That's what I needed to do. And as you can see, it's fairly fast. Once you have the MIDI pattern you want, you can just put those in and just adjust it by, just sliding those with 4 or 5 clicks, and you're done. So I think that's a big time saver. But let me talk about one more thing. Let me erase this first. So besides that, there's other things you can do. So I showed you in the first one this basic sound here. But let's say you want to do like a sequence. So I took that basic sound and I made a sequence out of it. So let me turn this off first. So you can see I have an arp here, an arpeggiator. So it's just using eighth notes here to make a pattern like this, where it's changing it by the velocity. I'll just hold the note down so you can hear what it sounds like. So that one's a little bit interesting, but there's something else you can do. I think the more interesting part is here in the mod 1. So if you look here, I used a step sequencer, and this is basically an LFO. So it's synced up to my tempo, and it will move through here. In the step sequencer, what it's controlling is the frequency range of my filter. So now filter 1, you see it here, frequency range. If I turn the LFO on, it does this. So, when I push a key, you'll notice the difference. Here we go. So there you go. It's a little bit random now because I don't have a metronome, so I don't know when the beat's supposed to start. So it's probably going to, every time I push it, it's going to sound a little bit different. But you get the idea. So there's lots of things you can do with that. And with the step sequencer, basically you go in here and you put in whatever you want. There's some presets here that actually sound pretty good. So let's say I wanted like 16. I don't need 16ths. Let's try eighth. What can I do with eighth? I don't know. There, let's try this. Just a random one I picked out. Here we go. So, as you can hear, there's a bunch of things you can do with it. And if you think like, I wanted to make it a little bit faster, I just go from here from eighths to 16ths here. And also in here, I need to double the speed. So I believe I need to go, no, that's twice as slow, twice as fast, like this. So let's hear it now. So, like I said, because I can't hear it, I don't know exactly when, the cycle's starting. So it's a little bit off, but when you actually put it in a project, it'll work. And you can get some interesting rhythms fairly easily just by using the step sequencer and your filter. So I think this is a really cool thing you can do. And also, if you don't want it to be like these hits, actually, let me slow it down for a second so you can hear this more clearly. Okay, slow it down. Slow this down too. There. If you want to change it so it's not like so much of a drum hit, but more of like a, I don't know, like a white noise sweep or like a backwards drum, just move the attack. So. So you can hear that's how it changes it. But like I said, do whatever you want. There's all sorts of things you can do with this, and this is a cool way to generate different rhythm patterns that maybe you hadn't thought of, because it not only uses the just 16th notes here and the velocity, but it also changes the pattern of the filter. So there's all sorts of cool things you can come up with that you never thought of. At least I hadn't thought of. But that's it for today. If you have any questions, comments, anything else, leave them below. I think I probably have one more of these videos in me, and then that's probably it for Epic Drums for a while. But that doesn't mean it's going to be the end of sound design. I'll probably do more sound design stuff in the hopefully near future. And I'm not saying I'm done with synth drum sound design forever. I might do some in the future, but give me a while to do some more research. But anyways, I hope you've been enjoying this, and If you have, thumbs up, share it, help me out, subscribe, and until next time, see you.
Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed that video, please remember to thumbs it up, check out some of my other videos below, and don't forget, subscribe. Thanks. Bye.